One thing that I should clarify about typography in Illustrator, I don't think that it's an amazing tool for setting text. It's a good tool, but it's not a great tool. If you have a lot of copy and a lot of text, I would suggest that you use InDesign instead, which we're going to look at a little bit at the end of the quarter. So you'll notice that the type tool is this T over here that's nested in my creation set. So if I hold my mouse down on the type tool, you'll notice that I have about 7 different features that I can possibly work with. I'm going to tear this set away. Now, I was looking at one of my students' 2019 versions of Illustrator, and I think that they may have moved some of these icons around. So it might be in a different position, but this is where it's at for 2018. Now, when I hover over these features, I want you to see what it's called. So the first one says Type Tool. You'll notice there's a hotkey for it. What's the hotkey? T. This one says Area Type Tool, and this one says Type on Path. Right? And then the others, this one says Vertical Type, Vertical Area Type Tool, and Vertical Type on Path. So the first 3 are horizontal. The next 3 are vertical. What's the difference? This one writes it from left to right. This one writes text top to bottom. But they're the exact same feature. So I don't show these. I think that this is something that you can just experiment with and see how it works. But I will cover the first 3. This writes text horizontally. This writes text vertically. So before we start working with a type tool, if you write a word on a piece of paper, what is the purpose of that word? What is the function of it? To be read, thank you. That is the function of the word. So if I'm a designer and it's really important information, what do you think one of my goals are with that text? To make it legible. So as a designer, when I work with typography, I'm usually trying to connect the text with the audience. And maybe sometimes I'm trying to be expressive. Maybe I want to make it fun or communicate an idea or a concept. But I would say 90% of the time, I'm really also striving for legibility. The information is there for a reason. The value in the document is the information on it. I want it to be accessible or legible. Okay, so the reason I'm bringing this up is that I'm ignoring the vertical set. And the reason I'm ignoring the vertical set is that it is very expressive and it's difficult to read. So I'm not going to show you a tool that I think is bad in general. It has a place, a nuanced place. Maybe once in a blue moon you'll use it. But I'm only going to focus on the horizontal set. So this is the horizontal set, this is the vertical set. You guys can experiment with these 3 later. And we will talk about this tool as well. It's called the Touch Type tool. So I'm going to hit T, and that activates the type tool. If I hit Command T, that activates the character and paragraph panels. So let me close this. Command T will open up the options for my text. Now, anytime I open up a panel, I click on the hamburger icon and I want to show the options. And you'll see here that this had a lot more options. So this is a panel in particular where I do want to check out the hamburger and turn that stuff on. Okay, so I'm going to work in collaboration with this tool and this panel. All right, so the type tool can work in one of 2 ways. It works in one of 2 ways. This is the first method. If I click with my character, and you'll notice that once I click with the tool, it activates a line of text. What does it say right there? Lorem Ipsum. Do you know what Lorem Ipsum is? You guys ever hear of the term? Who's heard of the term? Raise your hand. You've heard of it? Okay, good. So somebody just mentioned it. It's called dummy text or fake text. And it's placeholder text. In many cases, when you're designing a document, you've been briefed for what you are to design. So you're going to design an advertisement and a poster for selling dog biscuits. But the client hasn't given you necessarily all of the copy that goes inside of it. Maybe they know the title of the poster and some information, but maybe they don't have all of it. So they're going to tell you, start designing it. I need some dummy text or fake text as a placeholder. So that's the purpose of it. Lorem Ipsum traditionally has been the tool that designers use for placeholder text. If you go onto Google and you look up Lorem Ipsum generators, you will find a number of new media tools that will help you construct it. There is Star Wars Ipsum, there's Hipster Ipsum, there's all sorts of Ipsums that have different words rather than just traditional Lorem Ipsum. Your hand was up. What's up? What's the question? Oh, maybe she didn't have a question. Okay, so once again, I place the text, I click, and it starts writing Lorem Ipsum for me. And if I click off of this, if I click off, you'll notice it leaves a little pair of words that say Lorem Ipsum behind. Okay, so that's the first way that I can write text. I'm going to ask the dumb question. How did I do that? What did I do? Anybody? I clicked on the type tool, and I clicked once on the document, and it created a line of text for me. You got that? So the second way that I can write text is to go to the type tool, but instead of clicking once, I'm going to draw a box. I'm going to draw a box. So I'm going to hold my mouse down, and I'm going to drag a box, and when I let go, look what it does. It created a box filled with, once again, Lorem Ipsum. And if I click off of it, it leaves the dummy text behind. So the type tool activates text in one of two ways. Now, what's the difference? Right? Let's see the difference. If I use the first method, I click once and I start writing stuff. Okay, look what happens when I get to the edge. If this was Word, when I get to the edge, what would happen? It goes to the next line, right? Look what Illustrator does. Keeps going until I hit return. All right, so when I just, once again, just to recap, when I just click once, it's a continuous line of text. It doesn't stop until I hit return. All right?